Okie dokie, let us start creating the cover. We need a lot of pieces for this, so I've got them all in the PDF. You might need to open that up just so you have that in front of you as well. Okay, so your back piece. Now what I've done is I've taken two, it's going to be hard to see in the light here, but two pieces of chipboard, and I've glued them together to make an 1/8 of an inch wide chipboard, so it was fairly sturdy. Totally a personal choice, but that's what I did because I wanted it to be fairly thick. So your back piece is 11 1/8 by 7 7/8. Okay, so that's the very back. The front, like the part that you're going to see at the top of the album, is 11 inches by 7 3/4. Then you've got your spine, which is 3 7/8 by 11. The right side, because it's going to be kind of a box, so the right side is 11 by 3 5/8. The left side is 11 1/8 by 3 7/8. And then you've got 4 pieces that are going to go on the top and the bottom of each side, and they each measure 7 3/4 by 3 5/8. So that's all your chipboard pieces. Okay, so chipboard. Now we need some cardstock strips. Now these, because I've glued 2 pieces together, I don't want that to show that they're glued together, so these strips are literally going to go, not this specific strip for this, but they're going to go over the edge of all of your pieces of chipboard just to make them look prettier. Okay, so we need 2. Sorry, I've already scored all mine, so ignore the score marks for now. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. I just wanted to save a little bit of time. So you need 2 that measure 11 inches by 1 5/8. They're all going to be 1 5/8. Okay, so 2 at 11 inches. 4 at 7 5/8 inches by 1 5/8. 2 at 4 1/4 by 1 5/8, and 12 of them that are 3 7/8 by 1 5/8. So those are your chipboard pieces. I mean cardstock pieces, my apologies. Okay, and now we need some cardboard strips that are covered in Tyvek. So you're going to need 8 of them all together. That measure, they're all going to be 2 inches across, so you need 8 that are 2 by 11. Now, I say in the tutorial that you need 8 of them cardstock covered in Tyvek. However, I've got 4 that are 2 by 11 that are cardstock with Tyvek on the back, and I've already got some score tape on them. So covered with Tyvek, and then I've got 4 of them that measure the same, 2 by 11, that are just Tyvek. So alternatively, you could do all 8 of them like cardstock covered in Tyvek, or you could, these ones could be just cardstock, or they could be just Tyvek. So 4 of them, I mean, if you have Tyvek, I really encourage you to use it. If you don't, then all of these could just be cardstock if you don't have any Tyvek. If you do have Tyvek, 4 of them, cardstock covered in Tyvek for sure, and the other ones could be your choice. I'm going to do just Tyvek. So these are going to go on the inside, so everything will make sense in very shortly. And then the last that you will need are your second set of Tyvek covered cardstock is what I'm trying to say. So they will be 2 inches across by 7 3/4. Okay, so I've got 4 cardstock with Tyvek on the back. I've already got some score tape on some of them. And then the other 4 I have just as Tyvek, and I've already got the score tape on them as well. Okay, so get all that cut out, and then we shall start putting it all together. So, the way we're going to lay it out is as follows. The spine is in the center. It's going to be really hard to keep in frame, but I will do my best. Your front piece is going to go on the left-hand side. The back piece is going to go on the right-hand side. The right side obviously goes on the right side. Left side goes on the left side. And then the top and bottom pieces are going to go like so. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Yeah, this is going to be difficult. I'm going to try and do my best to make this happen for you. So we're going to start with our spine piece. Alright, you're going to take 2 of those cardstock covered Tyvek pieces, okay, that measure 2 by 11. Okay, and I've got score tape on either side, but not down the center. Alright, so what is going to happen is that this is going to go in behind, leaving that gap, and then the back piece is going to join up to it. But we want to make sure we leave a space, like 1/8 of an inch or more actually. That's why I don't have any adhesive in the center, because I want to leave a space to enable the pieces to bend upwards without hitting the one beside it. Okay, so I'm removing the score tape from there, and I'm going to adhere this to the back of the spine piece. So the Tyvek is facing up, and the cardstock, oh, it's a little crooked. So you want about that much space in between. You can even, a guideline is you can put another piece of chipboard in between as you're doing it, so you know you have enough space for them to fold. Okay, so the back piece is now going to go down, leaving that gap. So see, that gap makes it so that this can fold up easily. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So remove half of the score tape backing. And put it on the other side of the spine. You can also use wet adhesive if you prefer. So there is that option, just so you're aware. I'm just using score tape for both ease of this way, you know, because I don't have to wait for it to dry, and it does give you a little bit more wiggle room though. Oh, sorry, I almost put the wrong piece on. And then the front piece goes here. Okay, so leaving enough room that it can bend like that. Okay, and now the other 2 Tyvek covered cardstock pieces will go on either side here. So these are the 11 by 2 inch ones. Okay, so one's going to go on this side. And the right side piece is going over here. Okay, and then on this side, I just need to add some score tape to this. Remove half, oh sorry, I'm off camera. Remove half of it and place it on the back of the front. Does that make sense? It's your front piece, but we're putting on the back of the front piece. And then remove this part of the score tape backing. And your last piece going across is your left hand side. Okay, so now you've got something that looks like that, and on the back looks like that. Okay, so now we are going to add our top and bottom pieces. Well, they're going to be like the sides. They're going to form, so this is going to fold over like this, and this is going to come up, and then we're going to have the sides here. Okay, so now you need your 4 pieces. There we go. Just gonna get this one. I'm gonna put some adhesive on it here. Okay, so remove the backing from 1/2. Okay, and they're gonna go at the back of your front and back piece. So right there. And then one's gonna go at the bottom here. And then these two will go at the top and the bottom here. Okay, so like that, and then one at the bottom. Okay. Now we'll remove this part of the score tape backing. And we'll add each one of these pieces. Again, leaving that gap so that they can bend up. And do the bottom ones. Okay, so it's really hard to get this in here, but there we go. I've got a very tiny little studio, and I don't have a whole lot of workspace, so doing the best I can here. Okay, so then those will fold up like that. Alright, so now we want to cover these spaces. So this is where the other, your other 2-inch pieces come in. So I'm just going to use straight up Tyvek. And you can, this is where you can make a decision. You can use Tyvek or just cardstock or cardstock covered in Tyvek. You choose. I like the Tyvek just because it really makes it strong. I know this is not going to come apart using the Tyvek. And I like the inner part to be a little bit thinner how do I explain that? I just want what's covering this, I want it to really be bendable, so I'm just gonna use the Tyvek just because it's really thin instead of using both Tyvek and cardstock. Since we already have that on the outside, I feel we can get away with just doing Tyvek on the inside, but again, your choice. So we're just going to cover every one of the places that we just created a little gap between. Oh my goodness, I've got cat hair. Okay, so that's just gonna go over top like this. And just to make it look a little nicer. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of these off camera just to save a bit of time because it is a somewhat time consuming. So just so you know, I'm just putting the rest of the strips everywhere that there is a gap. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'll show you how I've got a few of them done now. Each time you do one, I like to kind of fold it up while using my nail to push the Tyvek in. Okay, so kind of do that with each one just to get a nice crease in there. And I've got the two left for the top and bottom here, so I'll put those on. Okay. Oh, and I've cut this one a little bit long somehow. So kind of, yeah, make sure you either dry fit them or as you're putting them on, make sure they fit properly. Somehow I've got a couple that are too long. So, and then the last one, yeah, this one's also a little bit long, so I'll cut it just a smidge. Okay, perfect. So that's that. All nice and neat. But now we just want to cover these edges. And I mean, this is optional. You don't have to do this. If you're fine with your edges showing, then that's fine. This is just what I'm doing. Feel free. So, all of those 1 5/8 inch strips, you're going to have to, every single one of them has to go on your scoreboard and is scored at 3/4 and at 7/8. Okay, so every single one of those strips, all of the sizes, so 3/4 and 7/8, so score all of those. I've already done mine, but do all of those, and then we're going to fold and crease, and we're going to put, this is the one rare time where the score tape is going to go on the mountain side, not the valley side. So got the mountain side there. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the mountain side. So this is where we just scored. We're going to put the score tape on the back, so on the mountain side, and then fold and crease all the score lines using your bone folder. Not like me. And then we are going to miter all the corners. So I'm not going to do that on camera because that's going to take quite a while. So do that to every one of those pieces. I've already got all the 12 smallest ones. I've already got them done. Okay, so once you have got all of those 1 5/8 inch pieces to this point, so got them all, you've creased everything, you've got your score tape on the inside, you've mitered the corners. Okay, so now we're going to put them all on. So obviously the 2 longest ones go on the edge. So literally they're just going to sit on top and then squeeze down. And there you go. There's your first one. It just looks a lot neater on the edge. So we're just going to do that with every single edge. So the 2 long ones here, your 4 7 5/8 inch ones will go at the top and bottom of these, and then there's 2 that were 4 1/4. They're going to go in the center here, and just kind of dry fit them before you adhere them, just so you know everything fits perfectly. Some of them might need to be trimmed down just a smidge, depending on how much room you left in between your chipboard pieces. Okay, so now I'm coming over to this side. And so that gusset makes it so it just sits perfectly on top, on the edge of your chipboard. All right. Okay, this one's going in the center. This one might be a tiny smidge too big. I'm going to cut it down just a little bit. There we go. This one. So like I said, this is optional, but I do like the look of it. I think it just makes it a little bit more finished. Alright, so I'm going to continue doing this. You probably don't need me to watch me put on every single one of them. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just putting them on the edge of the chipboard. Nothing too cray-cray here. So I'm going to do the rest of these off camera, and we'll come back and then start working on the interactive elements for the inside covers. So for this part and this part. Okay, so I will be back in a moment. Alright, I thought I'd just put the last couple on with you. Now I think I said that these little strips were 3 7/8 by 1 5/8, but they're 3 5/8. I think I might have said the wrong measurement, so I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah, so dry fit them first, just to be sure, because there was the 2 on the left side seemed to be needed to be a little bit longer, so you might have to do 2 that are the 7/8, and the rest of them are all 5/8. Okay, and then we've got almost all of them done, so it's all neat and tidy. You just got these last top and bottom 2 here, and then we can get all of our pieces for our interactive elements for the front and back covers, which are really simple. I didn't go too crazy on the front and back covers. cut down just a tiny bit more. You want to make sure when you put them on that these can still bend, so you don't want it to like go into the space there, right? Okay, so last piece. Alright, so it's going to close up like this. We're going to have magnets holding these kind of together, and then this will come up over like that, like that. It's hard to do when the magnets aren't already on, but so it will end up closing kind of like that. So it'll be a box with the pages. The pages will be attached to the other side of this part. Right? Okay, perfect. So that is that.